today I'm going to tell you about how to find a place in your home for everything. Sometimes things are just in random places where they don't belong. I know I need to put this somewhere. I don't really have a place right now. It's not bothering anything. So I'm just going to leave it right there. I'll figure it out later. And so now you have a thing that doesn't have a home. The first thing you got to do when you are trying to do this process is figure out where you want to do this first. Because you can't obviously do your house all at once. You want to figure out which room, which space you want to do this at first. Now, if you have all your rooms really clean and you only have one room that this needs to be done in, then yes, choose that room. So the second thing you're going to do throughout this whole process is figure out where these things are going to go, where they can go in your house, where they can go in your room. Figure out what spaces that you can use. Number three, if you have no good space for this item, you have to make a space or find a space for it. Maybe if I move this other thing over, I can make a space for it. That's one option. Another option is maybe you find some usable space that you just didn't realize that was there. And you're like, okay, I can put it there. Or you're like, hey, I've got some hidden space behind this item. Or you're just going to have to go buy something. You may not want to buy something, but you're like, hey, I don't have any other place for this thing. You can buy things like shelves and add them in different places in the room. If you're in the kitchen, you can add hooks for things in the kitchen so that if you have utensils or things that you use a lot in the kitchen, you could put them on hooks. Or you can buy like hang over the door organizers, right? For shoes and things like that. You don't have a place for all your shoes, and you may have to go buy any or all of that stuff, or you may have that stuff and just have never used it or thought about using it. And they're like, oh, I have it, so let me use that for this. And that's the most amazing feeling when you already have something that you can use to make a space for something else, and you just didn't realize you had it, but you found it, and you're like, yes, this is amazing because I can finally use this thing. Number four, do you actually need the item? Because you may not even need it. It may have just been out of place and you just haven't gotten around to throwing it away. And so now is your chance. You're like, hey, I don't really have a place for this. I've looked, I can't find a place for this, and I don't really need it. I'm going to go ahead and throw it away. And that helps not only with this, but with decluttering and getting stuff out of your way so you have less to worry about as well. So that's a bonus. Point number five, put items together that are similar or a duplicate of the item that you're trying to find a space for, because you may already have a space for the item that is just like this item and there may be more space there. And if there is, then that solves your issue. If you're getting value out of this content, go ahead and give it a like and click the subscribe button. Point number six, put the items you use most in the most accessible areas. So if you use an item a lot, find a place that you can get to it. Because otherwise, you put it in a place where you can't get to it, then you got to take stuff all out and figure out where that thing is. Okay, it's back there. Now I got to take all this stuff out. And then now I can get to the thing that I use. And I have to do that each and every time. Now, if you have to move something over to make an accessible place for it, like you have something there already that you really need, but this thing is more urgent, then go ahead and move that other thing to the side and find a different place for it, or just find a place for the new thing that's also accessible. Point number seven, whichever place you decide to put the item, make sure it's close to where you're going to use it. For example, you wouldn't have a wheelbarrow in the middle of your living room, right? You're obviously not going to use it inside. So find a place in your shed, garage, wherever it needs to actually be located. And the last point is going to be reset the room. So if you take an item down, you're using it, whatever, then make sure you look around the room and say, okay, this is out of place, that's out of place. Go ahead and put those things back so they all look in place and they're all in their respective homes. What you don't want to do is use the item, then just leave it. And then now that item is out of place and you've left it. And then you start getting more items out of place and more items out of place. So when you're about to leave the room, look around and say, okay, where do I put the items that are already out? So what do you think about this? What do you think about everything I said about finding a place in your home for everything? Do you use different tips or additional tips? I'd love to hear about those in the comments. Also, if you want to learn more about declutter in general, here's my decluttering playlist so you can go and see those videos as well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching.